Howdy, everyone.
Hello.
This is me, Zeus McDaniels, and the Captain.
Yay.
Reading Silent Ponyville Chapter 3.
And my internet totally did not explode, and this is totally not the second try.
Yeah, totally not.
None of that. Also, I have a coffee.
Unless it is.
Is it?
Dun dun dun.
I also have coffee. You're all jealous.
Not me. Not the coffee tub. Pinkie. Pinkie Pie tenderly finished cleaning and wrapping her wounds. Her legs still throbbed from the bite wound, but at least now it would start to heal properly. She tested her weight on it. There was a small bit of pain, but nothing she couldn't handle. She could keep moving. She could run away if she had to.
Where did we leave off? Where's the giant chasm? I missed the giant chasm.
We missed the giant chasm?
Yeah, I miss it so bad. Okay, she looked at the note she had placed on her bed once more. It had been resting at the bottom of the balloon's basket, as if it had been waiting for her to find it.
Laughter and smiles of youth, together as they find out truth. Dreams of the future are held, as fears of the past are expelled.
Hey, that rhymes. Yeah. She had been dwelling on this note since she found it. She knew it was a riddle. She wasn't very good with riddles. But her mind had finally calmed down enough now to start thinking more coherently. Her brain was finally not reeling from horror long enough to take deciphering these words, whatever.
Deciphering.
I have coffee.
Okay. These words seriously. Well, I guess the first line means fools. Fools finding truth, like learning? The word sparked it for her. Oh, this riddle is about a school.
Lame.
Wait, what?
Lame.
Oh, lame, right. She said, rereading the riddle in context of a school, and all the lines fit. So, does that mean I should head for the school? She asked herself.
Probably not. She looked around at the dilapidated room, the balloon that was torn apart, the body of half a filly.
No reason to stay here, she sighed as she packed the note into her bag before grabbing the lantern and heading outside. She shivered as she hit the cold, snowy air once more. She hadn't realized how warm it was, being inside of the building.
She turned the lantern off and placed it back in the bag. She then began her gallop towards the school.
She watched carefully from behind a tree as the lumbering form of the monster paced away from the entrance to the school. It looked just like the first monster she had encountered, the three-legged groaner. If there's more than one of those things, maybe groaner is a good thing to call them, she thought to herself.
Hey, welcome. Come get your groaner. She had hoped the buzzing of her phonograph wouldn't give her position away. This is now Call of Duty. But it didn't seem to notice any sounds unless she made them. It soon began to lumber away into the fog, turning into a dark silhouette itself. She figured now was the perfect time to move.
She quickly made to the front door of the school and pulled on the handle, trying to get inside quickly. The door jammed from the sound of it being locked. Wait, what?
What?
The door is jammed from the sound of it being locked?
Okay.
It's barred by the sound! Can't get it open! A sound is holding it!
It's locked, but she was bewildered. She hadn't expected it to be locked. Oh no. Not after the riddle had told her to come to the school. Or did it? Did I get the answer wrong? Oh, she asked herself as she looked at the door again. It was then that she noticed just above the handle was a lock with the symbol of a star on it.
I wonder what that could mean.
Anna.
Get an axe.
Anna. Oh, Anna. I don't know.
What?
I lied.
Oh, you don't know? Felt like a switch was flipped on in her head. She quickly reached into her bag and pulled out the key Gummy had left for her.
Yeah.
Being careful not to undo the ribbon, she placed the key into the keyhole, it fitting perfectly. The door unlocked with a satisfying click that made her smile softly. She went to grab the key to hold on to it again.
How? As a hoof. Oh. The key turned into ash, the tiny pieces quickly falling to the ground.
She stared in shock at the gift Gummy had given her. The only part that hadn't turned to ash was the ribbon that flew down gently, landing on her outstretched hoof.
Hold on. My coffee thing fell off. There we go. Oh, Gummies. Yeah, she said, her lip quivering as tears threatened to fall once more. She shook her head quickly, taking a deep breath of cold air as she calmed herself again. She'd clearly cried a lot. If she kept crying, she wasn't going to get out of this situation anytime soon. Besides, she still had the ribbon from the key.
She very carefully tied the bow to the end of her mane. It still didn't have its frizz to it, but tying it at the end helped make her feel like it was a little poofy again. The ribbon gave her comfort. She felt as if Gummy was right beside her while wearing it.
Sorry. My buddy's messaging me and I'm telling him to shut up. Okay. She opened the school door and headed inside. To her surprise, the area was fairly well lit. She had been expecting to need a lantern, like at the house. The school seemed to have fared better than her house did. It had a thick layer of dust, but the structure wasn't nearly as much disrepair. Lockers lined the wall and the hallways led to classrooms. Before her, an opening to the main auditorium. Signs hung on the wall, pointing out the direction to the gym, nurse's office, principal's office, and the numbers of the classrooms.
She said as her ear twitched upon hearing the sound. Sounded like the laughter of a young foal. She turned her head in the direction of the sound, simply amazed at the sight. She could see the ghostly apparitions of two young foals playing in the hallway. They laughed and pranced around each other before running down the hallway in the direction of a classroom.
What was that episode where Al projected that ooh scary thing? I was just picturing that. Right there. Ooh. Pinky. What?
Think it was in the one where they were doing the sleepover.
Oh yeah, where they dared Rarity to go outside in the water and rain, and she came back and her hair looked like...
But yeah, Applejack was telling her the story about the prissy mare.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got it. Pinky watched as they faded through the door into the classroom. She quickly turned her head to her bag and listened to the static of her phonograph, but it was silent.
Well, maybe those ghosts aren't monsters like the others, she said quietly to herself. Perhaps if they weren't monsters, they were a sign. She quickly followed the foals,
Not again.
opening the door to classroom 104.
Oh. For a second there, I thought it did it again. Okay.
Alright.
Did you finish the thing? Because I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I finished the thing.
Okay. The classroom was quiet as the halls of the school. Stagnant air mixed with the layer of dust. But the room gave Pinky a sense of nostalgia. It was the classroom she had gone to when she moved to Ponyville. No, you didn't. You lived on a rock farm. You lied.
It says when she moved to Ponyville.
Doesn't matter.
Memories began to flood to her mind.
Well, Miss Pinkamena Diane Pye, we recognize that you have been homeschooled for most of your life. Told you. But upon testing you on the Ponyville standardized test, your score was not high enough to acknowledge a gratitude level of pony. Oh, so we were crying you to take at least 1 year of public school here in Ponyville, the mayor exclaimed to her.
You know what they say about rock farmers? They are dumb as rocks.
That was funny.
What? I have to go to school?
No!
Pinky said, pouting in her seat opposite the mayor's desk. But learning was so boring. She stomped her hooves a little in her chair.
Now, sis, Octavia said, reaching over and placing a hoof on her sister's shoulder. It won't be that bad. Just think of all the new friends you'll be able to make. Yeah, you'll have a lot more ponies to invite to your parties, she said comfortingly.
But, Pinky said, looking at her sister with pleading eyes. She already knew that she wanted to spread smiles as much and as far as she could, but this was her first time finding other ponies to be friends with, to host a party for. She was rather intimidated by the thought that they would like her parties.
My shoulder is killing me already. Tell you what, Octavia said with a comforting smile. If it's all right with the mayor, I'll go to school with you. How does that sound? Yeah, school party.
I don't see why not, the mayor said, nodding with a smile.
Really? Oh my gosh, you're the best big sister ever, Pinky said, hugging her dear sister with all of her might. A big smile on her face. Octavia smiled in return as she petted her young filly sister.
Pinky smiled at the warm memory. It was one she hadn't thought about in a long time. When Pinky had decided to leave the farm, Octavia was the one who had been the one willing to help her adjust to life outside of it. Her parents seemed to understand and stayed behind to let their kids experience the world.
I bet you heard all of those. Each and every one. Anyways, Octavia had been the biggest help to her while they were at school. She gave her more confidence boost to meet the new ponies, and she made so many friends. Oh, it was glorious. She was also the reason she'd met Mr. and Mrs. Cakes, and ended up staying with them.
It was after that year of school that Octavia decided to leave on her own adventures, having discovered her love of the contrabass and classical music. What's a contrabass?
I don't know, but it's got ass at the end, so it's funny.
She'd been sad to see her sister go, but understood she had to go live her own life. Besides, she left her in the care of some very wonderful friends.
Murderers. Pinky walked down the rows of desks with a soft but warm smile on her face. The room certainly gave her plenty of happy memories to remember. She stopped before her old desk in remembrance, but noticed a piece of paper lying on top of it. How convenient.
But murderers make the best friends, you know that, right?
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Well, not only that, but a murderer is more likely to be willing to kill for you.
Yeah. See?
What's this? She asked, before taking a quick breath and blowing the dust off the paper. Sitting on her desk was a little fool's drawing. On it was the picture of a family smiling on a rock farm. She gently placed a hoof against it. It was the one of her old drawings. She smiled as she remembered the fondness she had for doodling during class. She could see their old house in the background. Her mother, I'm guessing?
Her moth and paws.
Yes, her moth and father standing behind their kids in the foreground. She smiled at the cute scribbling of her and Octavia.
She has terrible drawing. Wait, she said suddenly, realizing something. She took her hoof away.
I know what she realized. She realized that it was a moth and not her mother.
She took her hoof away from the picture and stared at it. Something was wrong with the picture. She couldn't put her hoof on it, though, even though she did, because her mother was a moth.
You cut off midway there.
It's... Just go. I said it all.
Okay. It's my family. What would give me the impression something's wrong? She stared at the happy family of four. She couldn't fight the strong urge that there was something wrong with the picture. But no matter how she racked her brain, nothing seemed to come to mind. She scrutinized the picture carefully.
All of her family was murderers. I'm sure if Octavia was here, she would know what the problem was, Pinky said, shook her head softly. She always was the smartest of us. Wow. Impressive family you have there. If we were ever in trouble, she always would bail us out. Her words stopped dead.
All right, fine, I'll play with you, but only because you're so insistent.
Her eyes shot back to the paper as she scanned it and counted the number of people in her family once more.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 23,
Billy Joel.
5. You should have thrown the grenade by then.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. She counted out loud as she pointed to an empty spot that should have contained her other sister. Where's Bellamina? Where's my younger sister? She scoured the picture for any sign of her. She wouldn't have drawn a picture of her family without her. Would she?
She murdered her. Wait, come to think of it, when was the last time I thought about Bellamina? She asked herself quietly. She remembered thinking about Octavia several times over the years, but she never thought about Bellamina. Oh my gosh, I must be the worst sister ever in the world. Oh God. She had the feeling so rotten for having forgotten about her other sister.
What other sister?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She tried to recall memories of her sister desperately, but the only thing that came to mind was the story of how she got her cutie mark. But beyond that...
She shook her head fiercely, trying to jog loose any memories, but she didn't remember anything else. She looked down somberly before slamming her hoof against the ground.
I'm so sorry, Bellamina. I promise you, once I get out of here, I'll keep you in my thoughts, Pinky said, determined now. She had to escape the horrors that had befallen Ponyville. She looked around the classroom, her eyes being drawn to the desk next to hers, the one Octavia had sat in during school. On the desk was a red circle with an X through it, written with a red marker. She carefully grabbed the edge of the desk, opened the top of it, and looked inside.
Inside the desk was a blue jewel carved into the shape of a contrabass. What is that?
I
think
no
it's
idea.
contrabass because it's like one of the bass cellos, but honestly, I have no knowledge.
Yeah, nor do I.
I'm going to Google that.
I'm not very musically gifted.
Continue. I'm going to Google that.
Well, it's beautiful, Pinky gasped, examining the item. She wasn't sure what it was doing there, but she had the strong feeling that it was something she was meant to keep. She picked it up carefully before placing it gently into her bag. She closed Octavia's desk before realizing she should check her desk as well. She was careful not to disturb the picture and opened hers as well. Inside was a red jewel in the shape of a balloon. She quickly placed it inside of her bag as well.
I was right. It's one of those bass cellos that sits on that pointy stand thing in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of figured that would be it.
Wow, it's so beautiful. Pinky gasped, examining the item. She wasn't sure what it was doing there, but she...
That was my line.
It was?
Yeah.
I'm lying. She closed the desk and looked around. None of the other desks appeared to have anything of significance on them. She headed to the front of the class, and checked the teacher's desk. There was a note written on the desk. Again, a note.
At the eve of the switch from night to morning, the red moon will shine.
Another riddle? My coffee is cold now. Pinky asked aloud to no one. This one certainly made less sense than the last riddle she tried to solve. Off the top of her head, she couldn't figure out what the riddle was trying to tell her.
Now, it would be stranger if she asked it to someone.
Intriguing.
She twirled her head towards the door when she heard the laughter of the fools coming from the hallway once more. She quickly exited the room and looked around the hallway for them. She saw them further down, playing with each other.
Sorry. Read too many clock pics in my time.
She slowly approached them. Are they playing doctor? Trying to get a better look at the two little fools. However, once she got close enough, they began to run down the hallway. She gave chase.
I played doctor, and that's how my friend died. The little fools didn't run too far. They quickly made a turn into the other room. Pinky stopped in front of the door and read janitor's closet for some reason on the front. She heard a click come from the door as if it had just been unlocked. She reached for the handle and opened it, walking into the closet.
Are you sure you were playing doctor and not surgeon?
I was playing kill the person because you hate him. You should try it.
Fun game. The room didn't look anything like a janitor's closet. Rather than shelves of items for cleaning, it was a mostly empty room. At the end, opposite the door, stood a small knee-high pedestal. Then, behind it was what looked like a door, with a clock and symbols around it, in between two portraits of the princesses.
Weirdo. Oh, is that lantern oil? Oh my gosh. Oh God. She said as she walked up to the small pedestal, noticing a small bottle of yellow liquid. That's not oil. It's something else. She sniffed it real quick to confirm what it was before picking it up and placing it in her mouth. Good. That should keep me stopped for a while. Oh, God.
Good. It's not what we thought. Hopefully, at least, maybe the bottle's airtight?
I don't know. Might have just skimmed down like 80% of the paragraph page, and I'm lost. Continue.
She then walked forward to take a closer look at the door. To the left of the door was a Princess of Picture of Princess Luna, graciously drawn with her body in a circle, surrounding a small hole in the wall. Princess Celestia was drawn much the same way, also surrounding a small hole in the wall.
Wait, this hole. I know this shape. She said, having noticed something about the hole Celestia was surrounding. She quickly reached into her bag and pulled out the red balloon jewel, and it fit gently into the hole. It snapped into place with a satisfying click.
Then that means the other jewel must go here, she said, placing the blue contrabass underneath Luna's picture. When the second jewel clicked into place, the clock moved forward out of the door a little, followed by the symbols placed in a circle around it. She looked carefully at the symbols. There were 6 pictures, 3 of suns, 1 red, 1 yellow, 1 blue, and 3 moons, 1 white, 1 green, and 1 red. So there's 2 red objects.
Wait. A clock and the moon. The words from the teacher's desk came to mind. The eve of the switch from the night to morning. Night is PM, morning is AM. They switch at 12, and the red moon will glow at the time. She placed her hand against... She doesn't have a hand. She doesn't have a hand. She has a hoof. Get right.
Wait, why Well, I suppose AM, PM do change like that, but day and night don't.
She doesn't have a hand, by the way. She placed her hoof against the dial of symbols and turned it, placing the red moon so that it was directly above the number 12 on the clock. Then she moved to the two hands of the clock point at the numbers as well.
Oh, there we are. The clock chimed 12 times as it and the dial moved back into the door. Before the door moved up and rose into the ceiling, opening the path, Pinky quickly walked into the next room.
She said as her ear twitched. She heard a very quiet sound. It was a sound coming from Ponyville itself. She recognized it as a siren. A siren was blaring in the distance. She wasn't sure what it meant, but she had a gut instinct it didn't mean anything good.
Wow. When you said siren, I was thinking of the girls on a rock.
Ow. Ow. My shoulder. Keep reading.
She focused on the room before her. She regretted it instantly.
The room itself gave off a stench of rotting. The ceiling was brown with missing tiles. The walls were a mess of peeling rotted walls, and the floor was covered in dirt on the floor, mold, and grime. Holes littered the room, revealing a mesh of iron grating behind them. Apparently, the foundation holding the room together.
2 dead ponies hung from the corners of the room, their bodies wrapped in some kind of cloth, but their blood splattered the walls and floors next to them. They hung by chains and metal that kept them suspended. On the wall between them was a single word written in their blood.
Oh, shortest paragraph ever. You ready? Run.
She didn't need to be told twice. As she ran out of the room, she ran out of the janitor's closet and back into the hall.
Contrary to popular belief, she did need to be told twice. Wait, what happened to the light? She asked as the hallway she entered was pitch black. She quietly reached into her bag and pulled out her lantern. The flame came to life.
Actually, quickly. Not quietly. Quickly.
Doesn't matter. Same thing. And the flame came to life, illuminating the hallway. She gasped as the hallway was no longer that of the calm and quiet schools, but instead was made of some dilapidated materials as the room she'd just escaped.
Everything was rotting, held together by a metal grating. The grime covered the floor in splotches, and blood caked the walls. Hanging bodies of ponies were visible at various intervals down the hall. The smell of so much rotting gagged Pinky. If not for the lantern in her mouth, she would have lost her stomach.
Dude, I don't think you're supposed to lose your stomach. That's kind of bad.
Where did I place my stomach?
I lost my voice. I think it rolled under the couch. I'm too lazy to go get it. The sound...
I think I left my stomach in the closet.
Yeah. The sound of static hit her ears next. Her heart started pounding as she next heard footsteps echoing down the hall. She turned to the direction of footsteps, listening to the hiss and of static grow louder as the footsteps grew closer. Just run, moron. Run! Her brain was screaming at her to run. See, I told you. Listen to the wall and put every force of power into her hooves.
Listen to the wall?
Listening to walls is quite popular these days.
Is the wall telling her to run some more?
I listened to walls before. It was cool.
Mm-hmm. And I spoke to walls before.
Oh,
or
watch out.
A wall.
Watch out, we got a badass.
Mm-hmm. But she seemed stuck, almost glued to the spot. Gorilla glue gets you every time. This feeling wasn't like the other monsters. This sensation was piercing down right into her very soul. This feeling was biting into her and was forcing her feet to stay.
No feet. Hooves. Okay. The edge...
Stay, boy, stay!
The edge of the light hit the creature. It walked further into the edge of her light as she felt her heart stopped for just a brief moment.
It was one of the monsters of her nightmare.
Gasp! Oh no! Oh, it was a tall, slender pony that towered over her. It had no face. Its skin clung to its face, and body was if they were attached directly to its bones. It was pale, deathly pale, accentuated by the black suit and red tie it wore on his torso. It continued to take slow, careful steps towards her. Every hoof step echoed in her brain like it was trying to grate at her mind.
Hi, howdy.
Howdy. My name's Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
How's your day?
The phonograph erupted into its loud, high-pitched ring as she felt a pain strike her mind. She finally felt herself no longer glued to the spot, and with every ounce of strength, she turned and ran.
Her heart jumped to her throat and out, and she died. Being away a mile a minute.
But at least she got away.
Yeah. As her hooves connected loudly with every single step she took, she didn't care about the grime or the bodies she passed. She had to get away. Her mind grated with the feeling of a haze that the creature seemed to bring with its presence. The loud ringing of the phonograph seemed to be the only thing that kept her in any state of mind to run as fast as she could.
Hey, that might be a good businessman, Slenderman.
Yeah.
He just walks up to some other person and they get a haze and stuff, and they'll agree to anything in that haze.
Yeah.
Yeah. She rounded a corner with lightning speed. She was putting everything into this. She knew she could run fast. She could keep up with it. If not outrun Rainbow Dash at times. She had to be losing the Slender Pony. She had to be escaping. She dared to look over her shoulder.
It was keeping up with her. It seemed only to be walking. Somehow, the slow pace canter it strutted kept up, and his whole being seemed to slide towards her, as if there was no escaping.
Her mind reeled, and she whipped her head forward, trying to go faster. She had to turn another corner. Her hoof caught under one of her legs, and she nearly fell. She scrambled her legs and took off again.
That was terrible. Oh. I was hoping for it to be some really weird, high-pitched, scream that screamed.
Was it supposed to be high-pitched or low-pitched?
It was supposed to be like,
though?
You know that little kid that screams at the park, at the place, and he's like, oh, no. It's supposed to be like that.
Oh, so it's actually in...
It's...
Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's blood-curdling scream. You know, it's like, so loud that your like eyes flip into your brain, and it's like, oh my god, run.
Oh, my blood's boiling.
Oh.
Or curdling, rather, which means your blood is rotting.
Okay.
Not pleasant.
A blood-curdling scream bellowed out before her as if she saw half of a white filly start to crawl straight for her. She jumped over it, its tongue passing over one of her hooves as it tried to bite her. Okay.
See, they were playing doctor.
Yeah. The screams of the filly were cut short as she heard the sound of it being crushed by the monster chasing her. Her stomach hit her heart and side of her throat as the lungs burned. You might want to fix that. Her mind was reeling, and the haze was growing.
I can't escape, I can't escape, I can't escape, I can't escape, I can't escape.
Yes, you can.
The words yelled and flung themselves to the very corners of her mind. She felt it. She was about to die. This monster was about to kill her, and there was nothing she could do about it.
Her eyes flung open as she saw at the end of the hallway an open door.
An exit, her mind screamed. Oh, so it should be more of an exit! Her mind screamed as she continued to book it. She raced as fast as she could, trying to ignore the constant looming presence of the threat behind her. She had to get to that door. She was almost there. Just a little closer. Just a little closer. She was going to make it.
Chuck Testa. She...
Just seeing the door, like, move aside and Chuck standing there.
She's like, nope. She jumped, passing straight through the open door and skidding to a halt outside the room. Oh, her heart instantly sank as she looked around. The room was square with one entrance, no exit. She had jumped straight into a dead end with that monster behind her.
Maybe you should close the door?
Maybe you should just burst through the wall.
She looked around frantically. The room was adorned with party decorations, multicolored streamers, balloons caked with blood, vile-looking snacks, poorly wrapped and rotting gifts, hanging ponies at every corner, seal of blood drawn out on the floor. Home sweet home.
You see, the only thing wrong that I see are the poorly wrapped gifts. You gotta put some effort into it, man. Come on.
And I mean, letting them rot.
I know.
Oh. How poor can that be? I mean, getting a, nice laptop for your birthday and then it starts rotting away.
Yeah, just because of the bad wrapping? Oh. You see, everything else is fine. It's just the bad wrapping.
Yeah, I mean, everything is normal party decorations.
Yeah, see that at every party.
Yeah.
She instantly turned around, watching as the slender pony gradually walked into the room. The only opening to the room sealed shut with an iron gate behind it. There was no escaping now, of course. She was trapped in the same room as the monster.
Why couldn't the iron gate have come down before he entered the room?
Come on, Pinky.
I mean, really?
Come on, man.
You should have pulled the lever before then or something.
Yeah.
I mean, can't you just pull the lever out of hammer space and pull that down?
Yeah, just burst through the wall. It's not that hard. I do it every day.
Alright. She dropped the lantern from her mouth, no longer able to hold onto it as she panted frantically. The lantern rolled to the center of the room, turning itself upright, and in the center of the blood-drawn seal. The seal lit up with a red glow, filling the whole room with light. She could see the red-hued, slender pony as it walked towards her.
Stay back, you beast! She yelled as she ran to the gifts and began grabbing them one by one and throwing them at the pony. The gift struck the pony and seemed to stun him for a moment, but as the gifts hit him, they fell to the ground and burst into a pile of ash. They slowed his walk down for a moment, but soon they didn't even faze him.
She grabbed the last gift and tossed it with all her might straight at his head. It struck him before blowing up into a pile of ash.
Pinky cried out in pain as she felt that her forehead was splitting open as her vision hazed into oblivion.
Perfectly normal.
Shh, wimp.
And by the way, those gifts were the clues to the next area.
Yeah, bro. Bro, man.
So, yeah, you just broke your game.
You failed.
She stomped her hooves down and ran blindly in a direction away from the pony. Her vision returned as she felt blood trickling down between her eyes, dripping off her nose. He'd opened up a fresh wound on her head.
Perfectly normal.
So, more likely situation, because she was locked in with him, she probably just whacked her head against the wall.
What do you bet that she is entirely crazy, entirely imagining this up and hitting her head against the wall constantly?
That's probably 99% true.
Yep. The other 0.1% is that she's high on meth. She grabbed the table holding the vial.
0.1%? I said 99%. So what's with the other 0.9%?
This is actually happening. She grabbed the table holding the vial snacks on top of it and tossed it to the ground. She raised her hind legs up, and with all of her might, she kicked the table straight at the slender pony. The whole table struck him and pushed him back. He hit the wall, and the table seemed to hold him in place for a moment.
Pinky panted as she stared at the creature. He got up. He pushed the table gently, and the table fell apart as a pile of ash.
Ow, my shoulder. Pinky's legs gave way under her as she fell to her knees. Tears fell from her eyes as she sobbed in pain and exhaustion. She couldn't fight the monster. It was way too much. Her mind reeled and wanted to accept her death. Her body couldn't take it. Her mind couldn't take it.
She felt her mind begin to hurt worse. The slender pony was drawing closer. She couldn't look at him. She sobbed with her eyes closed, shut, just wanting the horror to end once and for all.
The pain stopped. The hoof steps of the pony had stopped getting closer. The ringing of the phonograph was dying down.
Pinky dared to open her eyes and looked up. He was still there, but he had stopped its assault on her. He looked like he was looking away from her, at something she couldn't see.
That's when she heard it. The siren. The siren was going off in the distance. The slender pony put one of its lifted hooves to the ground and turned back to Pinky. She braced herself for whatever he was going to do, but he just stood there. Then, slowly he lowered his head into his suit and pulled out a small brown box. He placed it on the ground before turning around and walking away from her.
Ooh, so that means you should now learn how to mimic a siren.
Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Wait, is it my
It's
turn
your
or
turn.
yours? Okay, I was like waiting for you to start reading. The light in the room dimmed until it was pitch black.
The light from her lantern began to bring a gentle glow to the room.
Pinky hiccuped, taking in a huge breath of air that burned her lungs again. She could feel her heart still racing at top speed as she began to get her bearings. The room wasn't the one she had just been in. It looked like a normal basement. It had pipes and fixtures that controlled water, heating throughout the building. Her lantern lay on its side, in the middle of the room, glowing with its gentle flame.
The brown box was still where the slender pony had left it. Come on. You're almost done.
Oh.
You're almost done. You can do it. Oh.
Words failed Pinky. She didn't have the strength to get up at the moment. She lowered her head and let herself sob again. Wah, wah, wah.
So to fill you in on what you were doing the past 3 seconds, I was looking up the spilled coffee on my laptop. And it was quite cold.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So, what's with the gift, do you think?
I think it's a portal to another dimension where Pinky will finally dance.
I think Pinky danced prior to this. Well, depending on the setting of the story. I mean, if the setting of the story is before the actual show, then how does she know Twilight?
I do not know. Also, I am looking at the chapters, and there's 4 and 5, and then we have endings 1 through 6, and one involves UFO, so I am going to be interested there.
Only when it involves UFOs
USOs.
are you interested. Unidentified saucer-like objects.
Oh, yeah. Alright, give it up for the captain and Zeus McDaniels. Woo. Oh, good, that's still working.
Right. Would have been terrible if it wasn't.
My slow clap feature is still working. Alright.
How about your portals?
They're dysfunctional.
Oh,
I have a problem.
Too bad. You have a major problem.
Yes.
Of course, the portal thing isn't that.
Alright. We'll see you next time, which will be... Any idea?
Probably next Sunday.
Wow.
Unless you could do the mornings.
Wow. What schedule do you have?
Basically, every day I'm doing something for most of the day, past 6.
Every day I'm shuffling.
Exactly. Except I'm not shuffling.
Every day I wake up and I do the shuffle.
At least, except for maybe one day a week, I'm shuffling.
Yeah. Alright. I will see you next time.
See you then. Bye-bye.